Okay, so good evening, morning, afternoon, whenever you guys seem to watch this video. My name is Matt Johnson. I am the tour director for the Queen City Am Tour. We are excited to bring you a live video here that I guess really isn't live since we're recording it, because you never know what these guys are going to say. So if we got to go back and edit it, we'll take care of it. But we just wanted to kind of share a little bit about our golf tour, and in particular, kind of introduce you to our local legends here. So it's kind of funny to see these guys without golf hats on, man. You guys just look so different here, especially you, Gardner. You know, you just kind of low riding back there, creeping in there. So to our top left, we've got Tim Gardner. Tim Gardner went into our Hall of Fame in 2016. He is the all-time wins leader at 61 victories. We call him Mr. Major. He's been known to win the big one. So Timmy, welcome to the call.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Got it. Lower left, Mr. Jim Beatty, the Louisville legend. 43 wins that we know of since we started tabulating in 2008. Who knows how many were won in the 90s? There's a lot of trophies back there. So I think you'd have Gardner by about, what, 40 wins if we were counting all of them at some point?
No, I think me and him are about even.
Okay, gotcha. Love it. Love it. All right, so that is Mr. Beatty. To the lower right, we got Josh Dunn, as Mike Perezzo calls him, the Dunner, the #1 stunner. He is the fastest to 40 victories in his career. Didn't take him very long, so we introduced Josh in 2018. I think at the time you'd only been on tour, I think 2 years. So pretty quick ascension. So always good to have you on the screen, Josh. So thanks for joining. Okay. And then, man, downtown Tony Brown, top right, all-time legend here on the tour. He's been around from the get-go. So Tony, we got Tony in last year. He is sitting at 29 victories. And like all curses, I think we did the Madden Jinx, Tony, right? We got your green jacket, and we haven't been to the winner's circle since, right?
Yeah, might as well be the Heisman curse.
I love it. I love it. So yeah, I know you guys don't get to see each other very often. You know, look, I know we're not going to win any beauty contests, but you guys look good in your green jackets, man. I got to be honest. So you guys really cleaned up well for this call. I commend you guys, or your wives, or whoever helped you guys out.
Yeah,
that would not be my case.
Hey, you should thank her.
Yeah, I will. I will. So before we start, you guys don't see each other. Any banter? Any shots fired? I mean, I know we like to preach camaraderie, competition, and charity on the tour, but I mean, the competition, especially with you five, you're four, who knows what will come out, man.
It just feels weird to talk to these guys without holding a trophy. Usually they're in the crowd and I'm holding a trophy talking to them. It just seems strange.
Yeah, I do. That's the way to level par.
Right.
That's a good plug for this guy, the Arnie, which all you out there could win at the Masters. The most, would you guys say this is the most coveted trophy on tour? This thing? Best
I
one?
would say.
Yeah.
The best looking one on the shelf.
Yeah, I agree. It's a good one to win.
Speaking of backdrops, I didn't get the backdrop memo either.
You didn't look, I really decked it out. Yeah, let's
do one of those virtual ones.
Yeah.
That's what I'm waiting for, somebody to put mine in for me.
Yeah.
I'm going blue screen.
Yeah. Like I said, we really could have used like maybe Perezzo's antics if we would have just brought him in as a hologram in the background. Who knows what would have happened? That would have been pretty fun. Little backdrop.
Yeah, I agree. Anything with him would it would at least be interesting. Let's go with that.
All right. Well, awesome. Well, hey guys, like I said, we thought we'd use you guys. You're kind of our tour ambassadors and our Hall of Famers. So you guys have been around from the get-go. You really know what the tour's about. So we thought maybe it'd be better to help explain to those who have been on tour, but maybe some of the newer members coming in and people that might be watching this video for the first time, trying to decide. There's a lot of options, obviously, for amateur golf out there. So why the Queen City Am Tour? So Tim, how about you, man? You've been on a long time. What would you say to maybe someone considering the tour or just kind of new to amateur golf?
Well, I know when I started, I didn't think that I could do it. And, you know, with the different flight options and the people that you get to know over time, you learn how to kind of challenge yourself and to kind of set goals to rise up through the levels. So I would say most people that come in, they would probably have a competitive anxiety or something that they think, you know, it's kind of above their league. And I think that's one of the bigger prohibitive things for me for competitive golf, because I didn't play until after high school. So I didn't have that background. So I had avoided competitive golf for a long time. And then when I came in and meeting some of the guys that truly kind of welcome you, and you kind of get kind of a league or a familiarity that relaxes you. And then you realize, it's kind of you against the course, and then the game elevates as you get more comfortable and as you get more familiar. And I think that that's one of the really kind of basic bedrock things that you bring, is that camaraderie in a competitive, fair, and challenging environment. And I would say for anybody that's considering it, there is a place for you. There's multiple flight options, and there's people that will kind of shepherd you through the process. I always tell people, give it 3 events before you really start to put scores up that you think you should. And I hate to see people come in for 1 or 2 events and you don't see them again because they feel like they're embarrassing themselves or slowing the group down or things like that. I think it's really important that guys come in and get to a point where they're kind of playing the golf that they think they're capable of. And the only way to do that is to do it multiple times and start to get to know people. And that, for me, starting where I started and to be able to kind of learn how to have success on the golf course, I wouldn't have done it without guys like Jack Green and Bob Frank and Craig Knight and those guys that really kind of, you can see who can play, and they tell you tips, how to relax and how to do little things that will lead to success. So I think that's all pieces of the puzzle that the M Tour brings, and I'm grateful for it.
It's well said. It's kind of funny you brought up something that I get probably the most questions are, we meet new members and you can always tell, just how they're going to be a good fit to the tour. But you said it right. I think a lot of people have high expectation, or they haven't played tournament golf yet. And, you play at a club or public course with your friends on a weekend, and, you're not really playing by the true rules of golf yet, or you're taking gimmies, and you'd be surprised how much pressure's in a 3-foot putt when it matters. But, a lot of people just have to kind of get used to that tournament golf. You're right. We always see it in handicaps. A guy could come in as a 5 and play as a 15 for 3 or 4 tournaments, and it's really frustrating. But, it's always fun to watch those people stick it out, because they ultimately do make it back to their handicap. And then when it clicks and they have success, it's a lot of fun. So,
well, that's the thing about it. The reality of the situation when you're playing tournament golf and the scores are what they are, and they can get out of hand and it can get daunting. But the flip side is when you put up a number that, may be your best round in a tournament that nobody can take away from you, it's very gratifying.
Yeah.
And that was one thing you kind of get a taste of it and you want more. And that's the fun thing when you're playing under pressure and you're converting, it becomes its own thing. You want more and more and more. So,
yeah, sure. No, well said. So Tony, Josh, how about you guys? You guys, I believe, played in college, correct? Maybe coming at it from, a little bit of a different angle. What would you say to maybe people that did play at a higher level? Why would they go to the AM Tour?
Yeah, I'll let Josh go first and I'll follow him.
So I didn't play in college, but I came in at a pretty low handicap. I think my first tournaments, I was at a 1 or a 2 handicap straight out of the gate. So I came in expecting a lot. This is kind of a funny story because I hadn't played tournament golf either. My first event was a major on the Golf Channel in Mississippi, and I actually played with Tim in Mississippi. I think it was.
Wow.
And it was near Biloxi or something like that. Do you remember that?
Dancing Rabbit?
Dancing Rabbit. Yeah. And then I shoot 86. They cut it to one day. I shoot 86 and finish last in my flight. Very first tournament, finished last. And I'm sitting here going, oh my goodness, that was rough. The very next tournament I play is at Elks Run in Batavia with you guys. My first event on the Cincinnati tour. And I'm paired with Tim. And I'm thinking, how is this possible? How do I get the same guy from Mississippi and now to my local tour? He just saw me shoot 86. He's like, this guy ain't no one handicap. And then I think I shoot like 74, 75 at Elks Run, and I end up winning that event.
Mhm.
And Tim came through the stuff looking up to Bob Frank and those guys.
Yeah.
And myself, I came into the tour, and the people that ushered me in and the people that I looked at and looked for advice were Tim and Tony, and guys that I was playing against and that I had a lot of respect for and have a lot of respect for to this day, because those were the guys that were winning and were competing, and I wanted to be right there with them. So it was a great sort of, as Tim said, a great testing ground to kind of prove what you can do. And it's great to get out there and, you know what, finish last in an event, take the pressure off yourself, loosen up a little bit, start playing with people that you're friendly with. And it was a good way to really get your foot in the door of tournament golf.
Yeah. Well, that's well
I
said.
agree with
man.
that.
Yeah. Obviously, you turned the corner pretty fast. I think you won 40 tournaments in about 60 tries. So that was pretty impressive. And I don't even think I did that justice. Might have been less than that. So that was awesome, man. Yeah, Tony, how about you, man?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen anybody improve their golf game in tournament play as quick as Josh did. We had a couple of thin years there where there was, just 4, 5, 6 of us that were playing in a tournament together. So I got to play a lot of golf with Josh for probably 2 years, and I don't know if this is insulting me or giving him credit, either way, but I went from being even or maybe slightly by him off the tee to being about 35, 40 yards behind him off the tee, and I saw his scores go from the mid to upper 70s down to the mid 70s to upper 60s pretty quick. So and I'm sitting here saying, what the hell happened? How come I can't do that? And then I realized it was my loft, which is my lack of freaking talent. So that's the whole reason why I can't hit the ball 35 yards further than I do now. So I guess I'll just have to stick with 230 and watch these guys fly it by me. But my story's a little opposite to these guys. I played competitive golf my whole life, ever since I can remember holding a golf club. And my story I always loved to tell was prior to the AAGT tour, to the Michelob Ultra tour, to the Golf Channel tour. That's how far that we go back, right? So we go back quite a ways. And Mike McGuire was somebody that I looked up to at that time, who he was called probably what Tim's called today, which is Mr. Major, and I was called probably bridesmaid, because I couldn't tell you how many second place finishes I've had in my life. It makes Phil Mickelson's U.S. Open and Jack Nicklaus's major tournaments look pretty minor compared to how many second place finishes I have. But I've been a bridesmaid a lot, which may be my desire for trying to want to win and keep growing. But I started playing serious golf when I was a freshman in high school. And my freshman year, I averaged 49 for 9 holes. My sophomore year, I averaged 43. My junior year, I averaged 37. And my senior year, I averaged 36. So I had significant improvement, but not only did the improvement come with the actual athletic ability, it came with the mental part of the game too, which is an absolute huge component, especially if you're going to play tournament golf. It might be more important than your actual athletic ability, because you're going to get in situations where you don't get into situations with your buddies on the golf course, except maybe betting $10 or $20. It's a little different when there's a trophy on the line and a little bit of pride. It does make that 3-footer about 4.5 feet. So it is interesting to see. But I transitioned and had a college golf scholarship to a small NAIA school in Portsmouth, Ohio, called Shawnee State University. Yeah. And for 2.5 years, I was a huge disappointment. But it was a confidence thing, and it took one round of golf halfway through my junior year before I turned everything around. By the time I got out of there, I ended up being an All-American and also All-Conference my senior year. Oh. So, but funny thing happens, when you cross that stage, kids actually probably don't do that now. When you're on Zoom and you get your diploma, you don't really cross a stage anymore, like in this pandemic world we're in. But when you cross that stage, that's it. I mean, after college, there's no competitive golf for 99.9% of the people out there. And that left a pretty huge hole for me. And I'll never will forget, I was playing at Cumberland Trail in Columbus, Ohio, Pataskal action.
Yep.
And there was a flyer that I saw in the pro shop. And I think it was, at that time, I think it might have been the AAGT Tour. I think it might have been what that was, the American Amateur Golf Tour, I think is what it was. And I was there with my buddy, and I was like, hey, this is pretty cool. I was like, we can play competitive golf, and they've got 4 flights or 5 flights, whatever it was at the time, and I was still coming off my college high, and I was like, hey, I'm going to play in the championship flight or whatever it is, and I had a lot of early success on that, and then what eventually became the Michelob Ultra Tour. I probably have just as many wins on those 2 tours as I do the Golf Channel Tour. But I also had a ton of second place finishes, mainly to Michael. But that's another story. But what I loved about it is I love the camaraderie. I love being able to. Tim and I have had plenty of battles. We had a battle at Black Wolf, I believe.
Oh yeah.
Where Tim came out victorious. I can't remember if you were at Tunica or not. I can't remember if you were there. And I came out victorious on that one, which actually ended up being my first major win after many attempts.
And you got the 50-50.
Yeah. I couldn't believe I hit the
right there
all my life. So, but that was a nice payout. I actually tried to give it back, and Rick wouldn't let me, but that's okay. But yeah, I've had a lot of success at nationals, not lately, but I had a lot of top 5 finishes, a lot of top 10 finishes. I had one guy make about a 40-foot putt on me one time to knock me out of a top 5. He's the guy that has a big smile on his face right now. I'll keep this PG rated. I won't tell you what I'm thinking, but yeah, he drained a big putt down at Innsbruck that took me out of the top 5 and, under the Golf Channel a few years ago. But it was a great putt, though, it really was. And Tim and I played at Pinehurst. We played a major at Pinehurst. So I have a lot of respect for this tour. It is my only hobby, and the golf is important. The courses are important. The director is a huge component of why I'm here with you guys. But the camaraderie and the people I've met over the years is what really has made it for me. This year, I'm going in being a member of 3 different tours. I've never done that before. It's mainly to get some exposure to other golf courses as well. But this will always be considered my number 1 and home tour. And for me, all the way back from Bob Newton and from other people, they have built it, but nobody has built this tour like you have, Matt. And that's the reason that I get excited every year, because of the courses and the effort that you put in, way over the top from what we see around the country with other tours. You have an appreciation for how well ran the Cincinnati Tour has always been. And for those who want to play by the rules, competitive golf, sometimes I wish we didn't fully play by the rules and play the ball up when we play the ball down and get mud balls all the time, but that's for another conversation. But if you want to play real golf, you want to play competition, and you want to play within your competition. I don't really know of many sandbaggers that are going to be out here at all, and they don't last very long. If they are, they will get up quickly. So if you want to play in what I call a fair competition, where you play by the rules and you see these guys play on the PGA Tour, and you're like, man, I'd like to play in something kind of like that. It's a season-long event. You're not going to make a lot of money on this. So, we don't want people to think that, but you got a chance to make money in skins, and just the experience to me is why I've done this for over 20 years, all the way dating back to the AAGT tours.
Okay. Appreciate you saying that, Tony. Look, you guys make it easier from my seat. We do this because of you guys. You guys are the fabric of the tour, and it's what's kept me around this long. Like you said, we're not all making, millions off this thing. It's not a full-time job. It's just about being around guys like yourself and meeting new people and just being around the game we love. I mean, that's the beauty of golf, right? It just connects so many different people to each other. And with all that's going on in the world today, it's funny how, one little white ball can bring everyone together for one purpose and have a lot of fun and forget about things and, just be out there with each other, man. There's kind of a brotherhood and a fellowship to it. So it's really,
and I can't wait to pull the flagstick again. I mean, I
know, it's, yeah. I don't think I'll ever pull it again. I think it's been an advantage to leave it in, but I've always been a better putter than Tim anyway. So that's all right. Tim, I'm just kidding. Yeah, you're like,
That's all you got, man.
As Tim likes to say, Sneed game championship putter. Somehow that equates to a 14 handicap, and that's generous. That's real generous. So, all right, Jim, how about you, buddy? You've been around a long time, my friend. So you are the elder statesman of this group, and we would love to hear your experience, bud. I mean, look at all those trophies behind you. You've seen golf grow. You've been through it, like Tony and others, on the way it started to where it is today. I mean, what can you kind of share? What's been your observation of it all? What would you tell people?
Well, everybody else has played golf for years. I started in '92. I never hit a golf ball before 1992. And I played in my first tournament in 2003, and I won my first tournament in 2004.
Okay.
And then things happened, and I was out of the picture for a few years with cancer. And I was around in the AAGC, the Michelob Ultra, the Nike, and the Golf Channel. And to be honest, the Twin City Cup is ran better than any of those tours that I've ever been associated with. And that's because of you, Matt.
Well, thank you,
And
Jim.
the players that you meet. I mean, and I'm probably the only one that is a high handicap. I think all the other guys are single digit.
Depends what day.
Well, I'm out of place here tonight. For tonight. But I remember my first tournament, and that was in Fordham, Indiana, and I played against who was the tour director after Greg Kemp died here in Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
And I beat him in a one-hole playoff. I had a 7, and he had an 8 on the par 4. But I mean, if you're playing the same course all the time, your handicap's not right.
Mhm.
If you get out, and that's why people get discouraged when they come to playing competitive golf. They're playing to a 4 or a 5 or a 10, and they can't get under 95. The guys that are with about my handicap, 15, 16. And they get the stuff and they leave, like Tim was talking about. You gotta give it more of a chance than 2 or 3 tournaments. You need to play and get relaxed around everybody you're playing with. And I don't know how my voice is coming through because I
You're
don't
fine, buddy. We can hear you
Sounds
loud and
good.
clear. Yep.
But I mean, I love it. Everything my wife says, everything that I go into, I go all out. Well, bowling, drag racing, and golf. Now it's golf.
I love it. I would have loved to see you in your drag racing days, buddy. Those are stories for the 19th hole for sure, man. Love to hear those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to see the next Zoom call. I want to see you in your fire suit.
Yeah, we want to see Beatty in his old uniform, man. That'd be great.
A lot of leather.
Yeah, he's gonna pull it out. Like he's gonna go find it, man. This is gonna be good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is gonna be Ford versus Ferrari, Queen City Am Tour edition. So,
Okay. Called shotgun cycle.
Well,
Nice.
awesome. Awesome. Well, that's great, man. Well, hey, I appreciate you guys kind of sharing your story. I think it's important, it like you said, there's, a lot going on in these tournaments and people kind of get into them for various reasons. I hope what people are picking out of this Zoom call that are going to watch us later is what you guys have all said. It's really about the people. It's about the camaraderie. Look, no one's trying to make the tour. You just want to go out and have some fun. You can win a lot of stuff. We make it feel like fantasy golf to an extent with the Queen City Cup. So there's plenty to play for. We're growing as a tour, like you guys said, what I learned on the Golf Channel, extremely grateful for, Rick Adamak was awesome, and that's a good thing, right? Everybody can survive in this environment. They can play other tours. We're not selfish. We don't expect you to just play ours. We want to really grow the game and make sure that people are enjoying it first. And then when you're out there with us, it's just a lot of fun. So I know, just for everyone listening to this call, just get on the website. You'll learn a lot about the tour, how the Queen City Cup works. We've got flights for everyone. I know a lot of guys, like Jim just said, we've got some of our lower handicappers here with, Tim and Josh and Tony, but, Jim's in the senior flight and he's in one of the, kind of the 13, 16 range. A golfer like myself, we really don't play in the tournaments. We want to run them and make sure they're organized, but, there's a flight for everyone. And I would say the majority of the golfers on tour are really in that kind of 12 to 15 handicap range. Out of the 80 guys that show up every week, that's the majority of it. So don't, feel like there's not a place for you. Come out and enjoy it. And, look, we'll have fun, right? Embrace it. We'll work with you. Your handicap, you got to develop a tournament index, and we'll make sure that you're in the right flight that's fair for both you and your competition to make sure that your experience is great. So we will definitely find a home for you. So, hey guys, let's do a little, real quick here. Just, a gentleman that's not on the call, I just feel obligated to share. As you guys know, we've heard some stories, and just one guy in particular, Bob Frank was a guy that unfortunately we lost him a couple of years ago, and Bill Leppert also. And those were two guys like yourselves that to me personally meant a lot. It's why I stayed on this tour. And Bob in particular, I told the story to Julie and people at his funeral that honestly, Bob he just set the bar so high as a person. He was just a great guy, and he loved the game, and he was everything that was right about it. You guys share that same thing. That's what makes you guys special. But, just for anyone out there, that kind of knew him, what would you say about, Bob Frank and Bill Leppert, two guys that are part of this Green Jacket Club that unfortunately aren't here with us anymore, but obviously that we will continue to honor, every event, every Masters in particular. Anything you guys can share about those two?
I'll go real quick with a story about Bob Frank. I knew him. I knew Bill a little bit, but I knew Bob a lot. I went back for some national championships and played with Todd. I always get his last name.
Peeper.
I call him Piper Peeper. So, I'll never forget a moment that we had together. It was myself, him, Todd and Julie were in a car, and we were at one of the national championships, and I just remember, I can't even remember what the joke was, but there was a joke that stood for, we laughed for 15 minutes. And every time we'd get together, and this would be years down the road, every time we get together, we'd still say, hey, remember that one time at Nationals, and we were all in a car, and Julie couldn't stop laughing. She was laughing for 15 minutes, and Bob had tears coming out of his eyes, and Todd and I couldn't breathe. We were laughing so hard. And again, that's just part of the camaraderie that you have on this tour. But Bob, to me, is the tour. He is 95% of the people that have played more than 1 year know who Bob Frank is and was. So to me, he would be what I would consider a tour ambassador. He is somebody that just is what this tour is all about. You got somebody who played primarily in the second flight, or the Palmer flight, we call it, for years and years and years and years and years. And, obviously won his fair share, but, you always saw Bob walking around carrying a Michelob Ultra, and you always saw Julie's by his side. And, you know, it's just one of those things that, you know, the guy was taken from us way too soon,
Yeah.
way too soon. But he, to me, is what this tour is all about. And he instills the tour ambassador role to me. And that's how I've always thought of him as being one of the originals and one of the really good guys on tour that nobody had a bad word to say about.
Yeah.
Like I said, I didn't know, I don't know some of these other guys as well as I knew Bob, but I got to spend a lot of time with Bob, especially 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago, more so than now, or you know, back a few years ago. But I'll never forget the time that I did get to spend with him and what he meant to me, to this tour.
Yeah. It's well said. I'd say that, you know, it's funny how this tour grew. When I first started it, we were struggling to get 31 guys a weekend, but the 31 guys that were playing were guys like yourself and the Bobs and the Craig Knights and the guys of the world, the Danny Olivers, you know, Michael Lackey's another guy that unfortunately we lost, you know, a couple of years ago that, you know, we definitely intend on kind of adding into this group at some point. And, you know, those are the core guys, right? But I always said, you know, now we're at 397 members and we've got 80 to 100 guys playing, but it's, you know, probably, you know, 50 to 60 of those guys are a direct result of Bob's influence on the tour, of just the first impression and giving people, you know, kind of a sense of community and welcome. And you just saw him do things right. And again, he, like I said, he affected the players, affected our staffs, and, you know, he's definitely well missed. So anybody know Bill Leppert real well?
Bill, go ahead.
Jim, you got some history with Wild Bill.
I was just going to say that I never.
Yeah, go ahead.
We're just cutting each other off here.
That's all right. Go ahead, Josh.
I was just going to say that I actually never played around with Bob or Bill, but I don't know that I ever played a tournament where I didn't shake both their hands in Cincinnati. We were always in different flights, but both those guys were true ambassadors because they were so welcoming. They didn't know me from Adam, but every time I was there, they were coming up and I was shaking their hands every event we played.
Yeah.
You know, they were two very welcoming people, and it was always a pleasure to see them both.
Yeah.
And, you know, I want to add one thing on to what Josh just said there, because it's very important. And I notice this a lot every time we go to nationals. You know, a lot of us have been to nationals and many of them. It's amazing to see even the guys in your same flight. So even when, you know, Josh made that putt to knock me out of the top 5, you know, I kind of had a love-hate relationship with that, because I love to see the fact that somebody from our tour did well. I hate the fact that it had to be at the expense of me to knock me out of the top 5. But I love the fact of how we all root for each other at that national tournament. And, you know, I never will forget coming off 18 at the Nicholas course out at Palm Springs. And, you know, there were 6 or 7 guys there just there to support me finishing up my round of golf. You didn't have to do that. But that's the camaraderie that's built from this tour. And, you know, I've never gotten that at any other tour event I've ever been to. That's not, you know, part of this tour. So that was a really neat experience. And again, something that is an added bonus to what you get when you see other people supporting you from other flights, from other cities even, but especially your own here in Cincinnati.
Yeah, well said. Well, that's great. You know, like I said, Bill was, you know, a guy that he was kind of in that Snead flight at the end. And, you know, if you ever played against him, you know, he's a competitive guy and he had a lot of fun and he took it real serious in a good way. You know, it was a healthy serious. You know, he was competitive, but, you know, he didn't like to lose, but at the same time, he'd shake it off a couple times and always, like you said, Tony, make sure he congratulated someone else. He was generally happy for other people. And, you know, what really stuck out about Bill was just we all have this same passion for this game is what syncs us all to each other. That's unique, but he had a true affinity for the military. I mean, he really was a live and die. Like, I've got an interesting story real quick with him that I'll never forget. It just tells you the character of the guy. But we were at Hickory Woods you know, we were in this tournament. He had just lost to Jill Kostick in the tournament, and we were playing for the Eagle, you know, which is like the Arnie. It's probably another trophy that people love. And in particular, he wanted that trophy bad. He had never won it. And it's funny, I made a mistake. At the time, you know, Jill had came on and she was playing from a ladies tee and Bill was playing his tee, and I just didn't catch. It was just kind of a rare mistake, but I didn't realize that I was looking at the per par, not the score. And I had, you know, at the time, Jill looked like she had won and I had given her the trophy. And to Bill's credit, he didn't say anything. He didn't make a big deal of it. He let her have her moment. And Jill's awesome too. You know, you'll meet her when you get out, and there's, you know, she's great too for the women's, you know, she's awesome, her and David Conyers. So, you know, she was gracious and kind of like it was a dual win, but Bill let the entire place clear out. And Mike and I were breaking the tournament down, and this is an hour. Everybody was gone. We were picking up our banners. And I noticed Bill was just still sitting there, you know, like by his car. And I shared this with Patty, his girlfriend. He actually had a tear in his eye. Like it had really kind of, you know, shook him a little bit. And I said, hey, what's going on? He goes, hey, just out of respect to you, man, I didn't want to call this out in front of others. And, you know, I know you didn't do it intentionally, but I don't think it's fair. It should be the lowest score, not the per par. And you know, look, you guys know me. I just said, Bill, you're absolutely right, man. I made a mistake and I apologize. I can't believe I did that. But I was just so impressed that he didn't make a big deal out of it, because he could have easily came up to the scorer's table and said, no, that's not right. But he let Jill have her moment. We gave him his eagle. And I'll never forget the story. He had basically said, I got two things on my mind today. One is I gave it my best. I had fun. And I finally got this trophy that I really wanted to win because it represents the military. He goes, the second thing I'm going to do is I barely have enough money for gas, but I saw Kevin Harrison and Willie Jinks come out today in their uniform from Right Pat. And it really moved me. And I want you to give this last $10 in my wallet to those guys for coming out today. And I was just floored, man. I was just like, wow, incredible. So the selfish acts of guys like him, you know, he would never tell you that story. Probably wouldn't want me to tell you that story, but I just think it's important. Again, this is the character of the guys that you're going to see, you know, on tour, and it's just more about golf. So it's just pretty neat. So awesome. Well, let's do this, guys. You know,
because I was there when you all were talking.
Yep. Yeah, you were there, Jim. You saw it. All right, guys, we're going to play a little rapid fire. I kept you guys on long enough, so I appreciate it. So let's do a little master scene. So hello, friends, live from Beatty Cabin. Okay, so one of the things you will see here. Tony, you actually are going to get one of these. So we've got one for Bill. Leppert Lane with his 25 career wins, the Kentucky flag. Bob Frank, we call it Bob's Box. So we honor Bob. It is the first tee box at Heritage. Dunn's driving range, of course, where he's bombing balls into the heather about 300 yards out. Tony, to your point earlier.
Yeah, I want him drug tested next year.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. You know,
Don't ask what's in the bottle.
I know, what's in that bottle, man?
Whatever Bryson's drinking is probably what's in there.
That's right. You know, Gardner, he's one of our big three. He's one of the originals along with Mr. Beatty down there. So, of course, he gets a bridge, Gardner's bridge. Just don't, you know, hit any balls into the water there, Timmy. But,
no promises.
Yeah. But like I said, Jimmy, we thought we'd honor you, man. Like I said, we love you. So we're just going to call this Beatty Cabin. This little virtual clubhouse will be Beatty Cabin, man. So
I like it.
let's have a little fun. All right, guys. Rapid fire. Make it quick. Pace of play. You guys are on the clock. We will start with Tim. We'll go to Jim. We'll go to Josh. We'll go to Tony. Can you name your first win on tour?
I don't believe I can. Maybe Lassing Point.
Okay. Jim?
Ford Country Club.
Okay. Josh?
In Fort, Indiana.
Okay. Sorry, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Cut you off. Josh?
And who's one up there?
Okay.
No, I can't remember.
Got it. Josh, first win.
Elks Run.
Elks Run. Tony?
I'm assuming under the Golf Channel.
Yes. Anything that was associated with your first amateur tour win? Yes,
I'm
Golf
gonna
Channel.
take a stab at this, but I think it was in 2007 at Khyber Run.
Okay, remember that course? Gotcha. I also remember, not to bring up bad memories, but I remember you. I'll never forget the time you were one of the only people, I believe, to shoot like 67 and lose the felt camp at Stone Lake. Do you remember that?
Yes, he shot 65. I do
Yeah.
remember that very well.
Yeah. Then I think Josh Sullivan might have done that to one of you guys too at one point in time. And
Yeah, he also shot 65 on me, and then Josh Dunn beat me when I shot 69 one time out there.
Yeah.
So,
You
Don't
make
know.
such a good bridesmaid.
I tell you what,
He did say
I
he's a
really am.
bridesmaid. So
really
like, I mean, that should be like a dual win. All right.
I wasn't kidding when I said I had more seconds than a lot of these cats out there. I have known what it's felt like to be second place a lot. So that's why I try to enjoy every victory I get, because I know, even if there's just 5 or 6 of us, I know you better be at most 2 over, at best probably 1 or 2 under. You're not going to have a chance to win our flight anyway.
It's true. Yeah, I know what you feel. Mine's 7th place, not second, but I get it. I get it. All right, Tony, let's start with you. Favorite tournament course you play on our tour? What's one every year you really look forward to?
Yeah, the one that I play well, but always seem to get beat, honestly, Stone Lake is probably my favorite. Really enjoyed it when it was the Tour Championship,
Yep.
Mainly because I just don't play Belterra that well. Belterra to me is just a hard golf course for my handicap, the way that thing's laid out. But I really do enjoy Stone Lake. I think it's with the 5 par 5s, the 5 par 3s, it's a very challenging golf course, and I've seen anywhere from 72 to 65 win that in the championship fight. So it's a great golf course. It's fun. You have drivable par 4s. You got really long par 3s. You've got some reachable par 5s, even for me, and not many, but some. And so it's a really fun golf course to play. The one I'm looking forward to play this year is French Lick.
Yeah.
I've not played those golf courses since the old tornado warning we had when we were there many years ago, before it was redesigned, in the Ross course. And I remember playing there. That's when Bob was tour director. Bob Butte was tour director then, and we were ducking in and out of the clubhouse because of tornado warnings all around us.
Wow.
But I haven't played it since that course has been renovated, and I'm looking forward to playing that event this year.
Okay, good. I'm just going to give a cheap plug since you brought up French Lick. So that is our 2-day major. We somehow pulled off a miracle. So if Alex Whiteman happens to watch this, who's the director of French Lick, thank you. But you guys are going to kind of make history, not to put any pressure on you, but you are, to our knowledge, the only amateur event that's ever been allowed at the Pete Dye course. And it's going to be on Memorial Day weekend, on Memorial Day. So
Nice.
pretty awesome. So hopefully you'll see you guys there. Then we're going to qualify for our first national championships in Nashville and Gaylord. And that's all I'll say. So it's going to be good. All right, Josh, favorite tournament course. We'll try to keep this moving here. Favorite tournament course.
I would say I actually really enjoy the hard courses. So I would go with either Heritage Club or Champions Point.
Okay.
Both of those are tough. Got to hit the ball well, got to putt well courses. And I really enjoy both of those.
Yeah, that's well said. I mean, not to interrupt, but Champions Point blew me away last year. First time I'd seen that place. I've been telling everybody about it. I'm looking forward to getting some events near Louisville to support those guys who've always supported us and really blend the two cities together, once and for all. And Champions is bar none. That's awesome. So I'm excited that they're letting us back down there again this year. So Jimmy, you've seen them all, buddy. What's your favorite tournament course?
Chariot Run.
Chariot Run? Yeah. Tim likes that course.
Oh yeah.
Are we talking about Cincinnati?
No, just favorite tournament course, buddy, on the schedule. Preferably on our local tour.
On the local tour?
Yep. Well, yeah, he's in deep thought. He's going to the props.
He's looking at
going to the
trophies.
props.
Going to old scorecards.
While he's looking at that, I agree. I think best well kept and well maintained secrets out there. I think it's always a phenomenal golf course.
Yeah, Ohio's got a real special place for a Chariot Run right now too. Rumor on the street.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We got the hardware.
Jim's still protesting that Ryder Cup
Yeah, I know
victory.
you did.
All right.
Love it. Well, it took Ohio, I think, 9-10 years to get that trophy back. So we'll settle that at Elks Run here or later in the year when Ohio defends. So Timmy, favorite tournament course?
Well, for me, it's hands down the Masters at Heritage. It's just the total package that's presented that day is, I don't know that anybody that hasn't played it before is prepared for what they're going to see. The contest, the course, the field, the presentations that you put on. It's almost like a major or a national type of feel. It's just next level. So
Probably
that's the one, I circle the calendar for every year. It's just something about the drive over there that day. It's impressive.
and probably outside of Springfield Country Club, it has the toughest green complexes that we play.
Oh,
And
for sure.
Very challenging.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
And they sometimes they put some pins out there and the wind kicks up and people really, have a rough go of it. But I've never left there, and I have played poorly out there and not been happy with the day as a whole. It's just one of those flagship events.
That's one of those tournaments in our flight that if you're under 75, you have a chance of winning that day, which is rare. But that's how tough those green complexes can be, and they treat it. They got the Sunday pin placements out there normally. They treat it like a major championship on a Sunday.
Our buddy Mike Murphy definitely doesn't take it easy on you guys, but he's a great host, man. They like to protect their golf course, and they should, man.
They do a good job of it.
Like I
Yes,
said,
they do.
I agree with you. Stone Lake, from a public standpoint, unbelievable. All the courses we play are unbelievable, but Heritage really is worthy of the Masters title on our tour. So it's, big shout out to Mike and those guys over there for sure. I will share. So here's the next question. What's more nerve-wracking, when you actually came up to receive your jacket, or when we asked you to play Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus, Gary Player, and hit your first ceremonial tee-ball? More nervous. So Tim, the green jacket itself, or having to hit that ball in front of 80 to 90 people?
The jacket for me. I think the golf part of it, is just something that just learned over time. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, hitting the ball would have been hands down more nerve wracking, but just playing under pressure and everything, it's really a non-issue. But, the recognition and the speech that you gave and just Bob, we had talked about him a little bit before. It was definitely a moment, and it's just something that, I treasure.
Yeah, good. Okay. Jimmy, the jacket or the tee-ball, buddy? We tell you to hit.
Well, Tim, we're a little different because that tee-ball, when I'm knowing after I follow you all, that man's going to look like I hit a wedge. I would say the tee-ball. And but everything you say about Heritage is true. I mean, it is the main tournament that I do circle. I make sure that I'm going to make it to that one, no matter how many surgeries I have.
There you go. We're counting on it, buddy. It's not the same without you out there with us, man. We're counting on you being there, buddy, for sure. All right, Josh, how about you, man? What was it?
It's got to be the jacket. I mean, with the tee-ball, I just tee it up and crush it, and I don't care where it goes as long as I hit it hard.
Watching, right?
I'm just like I'm smoking this ball. I don't care where it ends up. Full John Daly on the tee-ball.
I love it. So you out of your shoes. That's why we got you guys elevated on that tee box. They can't tell. They just hear the sound, man. They hear the sound. Right. So, Josh, when you hit it, buddy, it makes a real nice sound. Hello, future Miss Green Jacket winner over there. So, got it. Yeah, we're probably getting close to Tim's bedtime. So, Tony, what about you? Tell me about just real quick. What was it like to get that jacket last year? What did it mean to you?
Well, I haven't hit the first tee ball yet.
Yeah, that's coming this year.
But I got to tell you, I was pretty emotional getting the jacket, and for me, The Hall of Fame, green jacket, which is what this is, was important. And it took me back to college, where I was inducted into the Hall of Fame there, their athletic Hall of Fame for golf as well, and how important that night was. But the shocking factor was listening to you give what seemed like a 15-minute speech on the accomplishments that I had. Some of those I've either forgotten or didn't even know that I accomplished. And to hear I was the first guy to do this or the only guy to do that on some of those majors, local majors, and so on was the first time I ever heard that, and it was an emotional experience for me. So for me, since I haven't hit a T-ball, and the fact that it was emotional for me, it would be receiving the green jacket.
I love it.
Yeah, it was more like 40 minutes. We're going to take the microphone from him next year.
Yeah, I'm going to really work on my
Cliff Notes version. Cliff Notes version.
You only get inducted once, right? So
that's right. I got to keep in mind that the other 80 guys are like, can I just get on the golf course already and start playing, man? So yeah, we'll work on that. Tim, put that in the suggestion box.
Yes.
Like you've done every year for 9 years.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. So, hey, this was great, man. I'll just recap real quick. So I just want to share, another kind of funny story. It's more one last thing with Bob, but, to players that are going to play Heritage, you're going to come out. We put a lot of our heart and soul into that event. It means a lot to us. It's where we really celebrate the players on tour. That is the tour. So to be able to crown somebody a Hall of Fame, Mike and myself, man, we enjoy it just as much as you guys do. It's what brings us back every year. Just thinking about who's going to get this year. We know we haven't shared it yet, but I think it's going to be really well received. It's long overdue. So you guys are going to have some great company with you this year. And, we do try to do this honorary ceremony where we give you accomplishments. We welcome you to the Green Jacket Club. That's awesome. It's fun for everybody. The drive, chip, and putt. We replicate the par 3 contest on the course. We have our own Amen Corner. We really try to make it feel like it is the Masters. And I'll tell you, the coolest thing for me, the most satisfying thing I've ever done as a tournament director was Bob's last Masters. And I'll never forget it because it was like the first time that we had, yourself and Jim and Tim and Josh. I think you might have missed that one. I think you were down in Florida kind of pursuing your dream down there and having a great season. And I'll never forget it. It was really the first time we made the green jackets hit the first ceremonial T-ball. We had kind of had other guys do it just because we know everybody's not going to get a green jacket, but there's so many people worthy of mention that we want to have up there with us. And I remember getting chills. Like I remember announcing Bob and this applause. Like I felt like I was on the PGA Tour. I don't know if you guys experienced it too, but I remember looking at Mike and going, I have chills. Like it's the first time I've ever had chills. Like watching people clap for him and then kind of knowing at the time that we didn't know that, he was kind of struggling, right, with his health. And we didn't know that, but for him to get himself together. And we honestly, we almost thought he was going to fall over when he hit the ball, but he flushed it. And it was just like that sound you love hearing from you guys and seeing the way people reacted to it. Like I said, again, I'm getting chills right now just thinking about it, man. It was amazing. So it's fun. It's fun for everybody. It's going to be a great event this year. We're going to do it later in July just to make sure we get great weather for it. And course is always in great shape. So I believe it's July 26th. We will be at Heritage. The tour is going to kick off, guys, in Kentucky for the Kentucky State Championships on Saturday, April 3rd at Neville Mead. Jimmy, Tony, Josh, we're coming your way. Gardner, we'll see you on the highway on the way down, but it's going to be a great season. Guys, I really appreciate you taking some time. I know it went a little long, but thank you so much for all you guys do for the tour. It means a lot. I can't thank you guys enough, and we're looking forward to a great season. So thank you, everybody.
I'd like to interject one last point if I could get the floor.
Sure.
So I think ultimately that any message that should be conveyed here is I think what this tour has that does separate it from other tours is what I call get it guys. And Bob Frank was a get it guy. We all are competitive and we all want to do our best, but the get it guys understand that once it's done, it's the camaraderie and there's other aspects of it. I can't tell you how many times that Bob Frank would come up to me and have a tip or something to help me improve when I would play against him. So, you know, Mr. Brown over there, who is a get it guy, and Mr. Dunn and Mr. Beatty and Mr. Ubel, Craig Knight, Mark Collette. This tour is inundated with what I call get it guys, but nobody gets it like you, Matt. And that's what separates it. So what you do, the enthusiasm, the energy that you bring, it's infectious. We are grateful. You know, I'm like Tony, this is one of my few hobbies outside of what my kids' activities do. And to be able to get the tournament schedule and to circle events on the calendar, it's very appreciative. And I hope that the momentum continues, because you deserve it. All the good success that you have. We thoroughly enjoy what you do for us, and we're anxious to assist in any way we can.
I appreciate that, Tim. Thank you, man. I appreciate it, guys. All right. Well, hey, with that said, we're going to let you guys go. I know it's past your bedtimes. We got to get you guys back down. So looking sharp in those green jacket guys. Looking forward to seeing you guys hit a T-ball in July. Looking forward to seeing you guys soon. And again, man, just really appreciate you guys. So thank you for all your support. And thank you to everybody watching the video for your support. The membership is free. Golfing, camaraderie, competition, charity, man. Come out and play with us. Look forward to seeing you guys on tour soon. Thanks,
Thanks,
everybody.
See you boys soon.
Thanks,
Great job,
gentlemen.
Matt.
See you guys.
Take care.
Yeah.
Thank you.